All right. Good morning, Latoya. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Danielle?
Very good. Thank you so much for taking the time to hop on the virtual interview with me today. I feel that the virtual interview really gives our candidates the opportunity to talk in their own words a little bit about what they've done and to take their resume kind of off the page and into real life. So, why don't we go ahead and start with you telling me a little bit about your career, and I think we could probably start at Bethune-Cookman.
Okay. I believe I started working at Bethune-Cookman University in 2013. I started the role as budget analyst, and then I started as a temp, and then went to the director of budgeting position. And I stayed in that role for about, I think, 2 years. And then they did a restructuring. But in that role, I did interface with a lot of the head departments, making sure everybody was staying within their budgets. If not, any unexpected expenses, being able to forecast that out, doing budget transfers, doing checking the requisite. We had a requisition system, so approving all the requisitions that came into the university. I'm working a lot with we had a general ledger accountant at the time. So I was working with them a lot and assisting with the month end close. And again, they went through a restructuring probably December of 2020, 2014. And so I started working in the athletics department in January of 2015. And there I was the accounting manager for athletics department. And in that role, it was more because at the university, the athletics department was probably the worst budget. And so I was put over there to help streamline them and get them in compliance with their budget. And so I work with the athletic director and the various department heads for the different programs. And on a monthly basis, I would meet with our athletics department and give them financial statements. They had a lot of different funds that they would receive from, whether it was from boosters or the MEAC or different donors. And so we would go over some of those budgets and make sure that sometimes they would utilize their restricted dollars versus their university dollars because they had a lot of donations. And so we started creating many budgets for each department and getting into compliance with them. So I would say the 2 years that I was over there, we were actually better than budget, which for them, it was a good thing, but a bad thing because sometimes if you're under budget, the university may feel like you don't need that many
Sure.
funds anymore. And so
It's a fine line.
it's a fine line. Yes, you
Mhm.
want to be in compliance and meet the budget, but I think one time they were probably like $500,000 under budget,
Oh, wow.
and they were really skeptical about showing it. But I told them as long as you show a need for it, they will
Mhm.
probably still give you close to that amount. But every year the university was cutting back on funds too, so it was kind of a give and take.
Sure. I understand. Yeah, I mean, they have to operate with leaner resources, than some of the larger state schools. So I understand where, that's just such a fine line, fine balance. Um, so then you were there, looks like to 2017, and then you got a lovely promotion or an opportunity offered to you that would be promotion. So you parted ways. You mentioned on good terms with the university, and then you had another very exciting opportunity. Why don't you tell me where you went?
Yes, so I went to the Volusia Flagler Family YMCA as the controller. And in that role, I believe I stayed there about 4 years.
Mhm.
And I started off as the controller and I advanced to the CFO of the company. There, it was doing pretty much everything in accounting. Um, I had a continuous staff of about five, but only two were full time and the other three were kind of part time. No, let me see, there was three full time and then two part time. I was responsible for accounts receivable, accounts payable, payroll, human resource, just general bookkeeping and accounting. And my main role there was doing the month end close and the budgets, forecasting, because after the first 6 months, we started forecasting every month just to make sure we let our board of directors know which direction that we might end the year in. And so I would go to the finance committee meetings and I would meet with the treasurer before the meetings to make sure that we both were in alignment with what we were going to speak about at the finance committee meetings. And I will also go to the board of directors meeting just to be the backup in case they have some other questions that the treasurer may not be able to answer. And so in that role, like I said, I did pretty much everything. And the reason why I left there was because at the time my husband was in the military and we were supposed to relocate. And at the last minute, we decided not to, but I had already given my resignation and helped them find someone else. And so we parted ways on the good terms also. And so then I started working. I probably took about a year and a half off to spend more time with my daughter. And then I started working remotely part time doing accounting consultants for different companies. I work with the landscaping nonprofit and barbershops. So small companies, just one is a construction company that I was also assisting, just working with various industries, doing mainly like financial statements. And I did QuickBooks a lot.
Okay.
I'm certified in that now. And restructuring their system, doing some policies and procedures. And then actually currently I am working as an accounting manager for a summer science program.
Mhm.
And I've been there for a little over a year.
Okay.
And great company. I was not actually looking for a job, but Bethune-Cookman, I really like the people there. And I said if I was to go back in the office somewhere, it would probably have to be somewhere that I liked. And again, I still keep in contact with some of the people there. And
Okay.
so I don't know how much of a learning curve there will be because I had the software Genzabar that they used to use.
Yes.
I'm not sure if they still do use that or not.
They do.
Okay. I think it was using, I can't remember the payroll system, but I feel like the experience that I had previously and have gained since then would be more of an asset. Because there probably wouldn't be much of a learning curve, but I'm sure things have changed because things change in general.
Sure.
Like I said, I really did enjoy working with Bethune-Cookman. And again, it was the culture and the people for me that really made it too. Kind of feel like home. So if I was to get the position, it would be like me going back home. So like full circle.
Yeah. I love that. Okay. And you're close. You live here in Volusia County. And you have your master's degree in accounting?
Yes.
Wonderful. I mean, you have really pretty much asked most of the questions that I had jotted down. So you were very, very informative in your overview. Now, certainly the university will have additional questions for you. This is an overview just to learn a little bit more about you and do like a pre-screening process. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this portion of the interview, Latoya, but please don't go anywhere because we got a few more things to talk about.
Okay.